I'm always delighted to be with Saul News. This has been such a leader in the conservative movement and the Republican Party.
Welcome to the Saul's Newsstand News Rewind for February 28th, 2025. WXOW reports, Van Orden Finstad comment on passage of House budget resolution. Republican 3rd District Congressman Derrick Van Orden of Wisconsin issued a statement following the House passage of a budget resolution on a 217 to 215 vote on Tuesday. Representative Van Orden said, quote, "To be explicitly clear, today's budget resolution did not include any cuts to specific programs. Anyone saying otherwise is lying and engaging in the fear-mongering of our farmers, veterans, seniors, and most vulnerable populations. The budget resolution simply sets the framework for how the federal government can be better stewards of taxpayer dollars. Millions of Americans depend on Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, and I will have no part in cutting these programs for the folks that are legally entitled to them." The Hill reports, Kevin O'Leary, DOGE should cut 20% more. Shark Tank investor Kevin O'Leary defended tech billionaire Elon Musk on Monday evening, saying that he thinks the Department of Government Efficiency should make even more cuts to government spending. O'Leary joined a CNN panel discussion to discuss the ongoing cuts to federal programs and the civil workforce, which has sparked widespread concern.
I think the issue is they're not whacking enough. There's this concept in private equity, when you get a bankrupt company and you go in there, you cut 20% more than your initial read. And then you find, like a pool of mercury, the organization gels back together again. Always cut deeper, harder when there's fat and waste. The FAA, it's not the people. The code is cobalt. It's from the 60s. It needs CapEx put into it for the technology to be upgraded to make it safer. Fat like a chicken. All of these agencies are like big fat chickens dripping over barbecues of fat. This is the best barbecue I've ever seen, but I don't think it's happening fast enough. They're not cutting enough. Keep slashing, keep hacking while you have a 24-month mandate before the midterms. Cut, 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 cut. More cutting. Believe me, it's going to work out just great.
Within President Trump's first month back in the White House, the administration says DOGE has saved the American public $55 billion through a combination of efforts, namely a reduction in the federal workforce. And finally, the Daily Caller reports, majority of American voters more satisfied with Trump than Biden in first month of second term. A majority of voters are more satisfied with President Donald Trump than they were with former President Joe Biden as they reflect on the first month of the second Trump administration, according to a recent poll. President Trump has an approval rating of 52%, according to a February Harvard Capps Harris poll. Even more voters, 72%, are supportive of having a government agency focused on efficiency initiatives, the poll shows. As President Trump's Department of Government Efficiency audits every federal government department for unnecessary spending, 77% of voters say, quote, a full examination of all government expenditures is necessary, and 70% believe that government expenditures are filled with, quote, waste, fraud, and inefficiency, the poll shows. This week, we'll let President Ronald Reagan have the last word.
Now let's set the record straight. There's no argument over the choice between peace and war, but there's only one guaranteed way you can have peace, and you can have it in the next second. Surrender. Admittedly, there's a risk in any course we follow other than this, but every lesson of history tells us that the greater risk lies in appeasement, and this is the specter our well-meaning liberal friends refuse to face, that their policy of accommodation is appeasement, and it gives no choice between peace and war. Only between fight or surrender. If we continue to accommodate, continue to back and retreat, eventually we have to face the final demand, the ultimatum. And what then? When Nikita Khrushchev has told his people he knows what our answer will be. He has told them that we're retreating under the pressure of the Cold War, and someday, when the time comes to deliver the final ultimatum, our surrender will be voluntary, because by that time, we will have been weakened from within spiritually, morally, and economically. He believes this because from our side he's heard voices pleading for peace at any price, or better read than dead, or as one commentator put it, he'd rather live on his knees than die on his feet. And therein lies the road to war, because those voices don't speak for the rest of us. You and I know and do not believe that life is so dear and peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery. If nothing in life is worth dying for, when did this begin? Just in the face of this enemy? Or should Moses have told the children of Israel to live in slavery under the Pharaohs? Should Christ have refused the cross? Should the patriots at Concord Bridge have thrown down their guns and refused to fire the shot heard round the world? The martyrs of history were not fools, and our honored dead who gave their lives to stop the advance of the Nazis didn't die in vain. Where then is the road to peace? Well, it's a simple answer after all. You and I have the courage to say to our enemies, there is a price we will not pay, there is a point beyond which they must not advance. Winston Churchill said the destiny of man is not measured by material computations. When great forces are on the move in the world, we learn we're spirits, not animals. And he said there's something going on in time and space and beyond time and space, which, whether we like it or not, spells duty. You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
And that concludes your Saul's Newsstand News Rewind for February 28th, 2025. For more political news faster, visit saulsnews.com.